Yo, what's good with you? Back in black with another Call of Duty video. If you guys are new to the channel and you love shooting games just like me, make sure you aim for that like button and shoot that subscribe button as well. It'll help you find better teammates and it'll improve your skill-based matchmaking, because God knows we need help with that in this game. As we all know, the Call of Duty beta has recently ended, and there are a lot of YouTubers out there putting together their concise and conclusive thoughts on the beta, how it performed, how it compares to MW19, the feedback that was being implemented, or I guess lack thereof feedback being implemented, because we all know how Infinity Ward and Activision is. But yeah, I don't know, I basically just wanted to get in on the fray because I am also a Call of Duty veteran that has been playing since, you know, Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1. I went out of my way to go back and buy every Call of Duty ever made except for Vanguard, because what the fuck was that? That was a piece of shit game. I'd rather play Call of Duty 1 on the PC made back in 2002, but neither here nor there. The funny thing about Call of Duty is that it is a cultural phenomenon, whereas everybody knows about it or has at least heard about it. So it kind of puts us in a peculiar fork in the road where we have to make a very important decision as to whether we're going to buy it or not, because quite frankly, the FPS genre is in a bit of a slump right now. And seeing as how this is the only Call of Duty that we're going to get for the next 2 years, Battlefield is basically in hibernation mode. Halo is a shell of its former self, so you know, you just gotta really decide, are you gonna buy this next Call of Duty? Because if not, what else are you gonna play? So whenever I try to make a compare and contrast, you know, section about two different video games, I typically try to put up gameplay side by side so you can take a look at both of them at the same time and not have any, like, you know, I guess biases or false memories about what you was experiencing not too long ago. So what I'm going to do right now is put up side-by-side gameplay of MW19 and this beta, and you tell me if you see any significant differences between the two. Just kidding, I do think Call of Duty is good, but nah. Back.
Gas hands activated. Copy that. Barrel 6 inbound for SAE.
Buddy.
Copy. On smoke. Care package on the way.
How do you know I was there? You fucking nigga waited for me to open the door and still die. Trash. Oh, these niggas waiting for me. Bro, they just waiting. They're literally just waiting for you to open the door. Sitting in the corner. I can't do it. Alright, so if you couldn't tell from the previous comparison clip that I had up, this game is basically a clone of the same game that they made 2 years ago, with minor improvements here and there. And you know, I'll give them a little bit of credit. There's a couple of major improvements as well, but I would be regressed if I didn't mention that there was a lot of minor to major downgrades as well in the philosophy that they are taking when they are designing this game. One of the reasons that I really did not like MW19 is that it's a game that kind of forced you to take a certain play style, even if you didn't like that play style or you didn't want to play that way at that certain moment in time. The way the maps were designed were very realistic and very porous, with multiple flanking routes, which encourage, you know, people to just hold angles instead of relying on their gun skill in order to win gunfights, which normally is what Call of Duty is predicated on, coming from somebody who's, you know, again, played all the old ones, and that's kind of how people got better. You just got whopped until you learned how to shoot your gun, and you learned what the good guns were, and you just got better reaction time and gun skill. That's how people got better. Nowadays, I feel like this game is just trying to lean towards like SOCOM US Navy SEALs or something like that, and you just gotta get to the power position or hold the angle and delete the dude in 1.5 seconds because the TTK is so fast, which again, I know Call of Duty has always had a pretty fast TTK, except for like Black Ops 4 and stuff like that, but you at least had a chance to react and like turn on somebody, or if you were good at the game, you could like outmaneuver somebody or flank somebody who was like new at the game. Nowadays, everything just kind of deletes you in like 1 second. But to talk about how they kind of tried to remedy that, they did make the maps, you know, more designed for a classic Call of Duty feel, whereas they are smaller, more condensed, and they have usually a 3-lane approach with 2 levels of verticality, which is great. That's not too much, that's not too bad. That's typically how Call of Duty works. And I will say in the beta, I really enjoyed how the maps played. There's nothing that's like super iconic to me yet that stands out how stuff would back in the day, but I guess whenever you're playing a Call of Duty in the moment, you never know a map is iconic until, you know, near the end of the life cycle or until the next Call of Duty is out. So that's all I'll say about that. The only other good thing that I can say that Infinity Ward did is that they addressed disbanding lobbies. They didn't even say exactly what they're going to do about it, but they said they're looking at it. So that's the main component to skill-based matchmaking, which has been the bane of Call of Duty's existence for a while now, as it's gotten stronger and stronger over the years. Other than that, yeah, I mean, they toned down the weapon smoke when you fired your gun, which again is like Infinity Ward. They really try to lean into that realism aspect of like shooting your gun and just how you know, military combat should be simulated in general, which I don't understand. Is like, if you want to be this popular game, are you like marketing yourself to be fun, or are you marketing yourself to be a hardcore realistic experience? I don't understand what they're trying to go for anymore. And that's why I say like Call of Duty is like, I say this a lot, like they're trying to become SOCOM so bad, and like, if you want to be SOCOM, that's cool, be SOCOM, make the game more realistic, make it like look gorgeous, sure, do whatever you gotta do, but like, I don't know, it's like, I feel like Call of Duty lost its identity, and that kind of makes me sad coming from somebody who's been playing this since he was like 7, 8, 9 years old on the PS2, so I don't know. It's just, Call of Duty is it defines FPS gaming, so I don't know why they're trying so hard to like redefine themselves. But neither here nor there. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent. I want to tell you guys like one little story, and then I'll just give you my little synopsis of what I think about the game. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was the first Call of Duty that I played online. I've been playing Call of Duty for a long time before that, but it was really just me playing the campaign over and over and over again, because I didn't know how to hook my console up into you know, to the internet until I got, you know, an Xbox 360. And I think because I played campaigns over and over again so many times, when I first started playing online, I actually wasn't half bad. I would say that I was better than average. I think for the first like 6 months of me playing Call of Duty, I had a 1.8 KD ratio, and I didn't think I was like amazing or anything, but like I knew like I was getting better over time, and that feeling is one of the things that made me fall in love with Call of Duty and what kept me playing so long, because I could see the progression and I could like see myself getting better. You know, I used to be able to only drop like 20 kills a game, and then in MW3 I'm dropping 50, 60, 70, sometimes 80, sometimes even 100 pluses, getting Moabs, getting nukes and stuff like that. And that progression, like, you put so much time and effort into something, and that's what makes you addicted to it, and that's what makes you fall in love with it, and that's what makes you a Call of Duty fan. And I feel like the barrier to entry was like never low when you were playing Call of Duty, but it was hard to turn into one of those people who could like have YouTube worthy gameplays, or like just go off in general, or be a quote unquote pub stomper. People who do that are people who are either naturally talented at, you know, FPS games, or people who have played Call of Duty for a long time and got to that point because they learned the mechanics of the game and understood how it worked. And I feel like, you know, I don't know if it's Activision or just, you know, the developers individually, but I feel like they're just trying to like lower that skill floor and like just make the barrier to entry like I don't know if they're trying to like eliminate the barrier to entry, which I never. I sound like I can't talk because I'm like thinking while I'm talking at the same time. This is like unrecorded, but yeah, like the barrier to entry to Call of Duty, it was never like hard to get into. Like the game was always popular ever since they went modern. Like even in Call of Duty 2, like on the Xbox 360, like that's when I thought it was pretty popular back then. I remember seeing it at E3 and everybody's like, oh, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. So it's like for the game to be as big as it is and to have such an expansive audience, why would you change your formula so much and alienate the people who like been playing for so long? The game was gonna grow regardless, because people are always gonna talk about Call of Duty and tell their friends to buy the game. And it's like they're doing all these changes and like all these things that make the game like more noob friendly, and like to anybody who's been playing the game for a long time, it still feels like COD. It still is COD, but a lot of the time it doesn't really play like it, and they're just trying to bring it just feels like they're trying to bring everybody closer to a 1.0 KD ratio, and they're not like letting people shine, or like if you put in that time and effort and like learn the game, it's like all of that is like going unappreciated, it feels like, because all they're going to do is throw you in a harder game and not let you have fun. And you know what's fun in Call of Duty? You know why people like playing Call of Duty? So they can go off, so they can get those super good gameplays, so they can get their kill streaks. And they're just making it harder and harder for people to do that. And I guess I understand the simple fact that the average gamer is better and has gotten better over time. So I don't know, it's kind of weird to me that they would kind of take that philosophy and design approach, whereas they want to bring everybody closer to one instead of letting people develop their skills and like shine. It's just like, oh, you're getting kind of good at the game, man, it's time to bring you back down a notch, knock you back down a peg. And that's not a good feeling. And that was one of my big gripes with MW19. And that's why like I liked the game in its essence, and like how it was, like how good it looks, and how the guns feel and like all that jazz. But like all the like under the hood stuff, like the components and like how they match you up and whatnot, like it's not the same, bro. They just need to go back to like, I'm not saying go back to like host-based lobbies or anything like that, but just like, make it random how it used to be. Like that's how it was back in the day. Sometimes I would go into a game and I would get bopped. Sometimes I would go into a game and I would dominate the whole lobby, and sometimes you get an average lobby. And yeah, I don't know, like I said, they are gonna address the disbanding lobby, so hopefully we can see something that's a little reminiscent of how COD used to be back in the day with that. But if I could sum it up in a nice little bow, like after playing this beta and like taking in all the feedback and seeing the general community reaction, I'm gonna buy the game. And my main reason is because it's the only Call of Duty that we're gonna get for 2 years. And if you look at the general landscape of FPS games, Halo is bad, Battlefield is bad, like most games are bad, and Call of Duty has the most production value behind it. I feel like a lot of these publishers, I feel like they just put all the money into the marketing instead of putting it into the actual gameplay, and that kind of sucks. I don't know, but neither here nor there. I think like I have fun playing the beta. I feel like this game will be really fun if you play it with friends, and I feel like if they would just like do some of the small things, like I know everybody's heard it, like put dead silence as a perk. Like if they do that, like stop trying to restrict people's play styles, like stop trying to make people play a certain way. Like Call of Duty was one of those games that always had a give and take, and it always had balance. And like MW3 was probably the most balanced Call of Duty in my personal opinion. I think they nailed it as far as gameplay and atmosphere. Like if they would have just kept that same approach, how whatever Infinity Ward and Raven Software was doing, or whoever was helping on MW3, was it Sledgehammer? I don't even remember. But yeah, they just need to go back to MW3 philosophy. They took what was unbalanced in MW2, which is kind of crazy because I would say this game is more modeled after Modern Warfare 2019 than it is actually modeled after Modern Warfare 2, which is very ironic because the whole namesake of this game is predicated around MW2, and I feel like they're not even really trying to capture any of that nostalgia that was actually there in 2009. But I can talk about that in another video. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna buy it. I think it's a good game. Like on a foundational level, it's a good game. They gotta do like a couple of small things and stop trying to make people play a certain way. Like you already fixed the maps to help alleviate the playstyle issue, but then they don't want to put in dead silence as a perk, which also limits people's playstyle. And then they have like all these like other things that like just promote you to hold angles, like mounting. And you know the mounting challenge is coming back for the camos. You already know how that's gonna be. It's just, yeah, people are probably getting conditioned to play slower and more tactical, which again, this game wants to be SOCOM. So if you like Call of Duty and you like SOCOM, then you'll probably like MW20 or Modern Warfare 2022. But I feel like I'm ranting at this point, so I'm gonna just end the video there. I've been playing Call of Duty for a long time, and like I know I don't make videos on this normally, but it's just something that I've been wanting to get off my chest, and I just want to talk about it a little bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Share your thoughts down below. How do you feel about Call of Duty at this certain point in this day and age? Are you gonna buy the next game? And let me know. I hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget to aim for that like button, shoot that subscribe button. And I'll talk to you next time. Black Guy out. Got his internet back. Somebody's back here.